welcome you to the Embrace Podcast. I'm your host, Abra Taylor, and today I have two lovely guests with me on today. I have Miss Desimon Coffee and Mr. Stephen Farrell.
Hey, how's it going?
We got a very hot topic today, a very impactful topic that has caught a lot of attention from a lot of people. So we're going to be talking about divorce on today. So just to kind of break the ice a little bit, just to kind of speak a little bit about divorce. So I was doing a little research and I came across this statistic about so in 2004 there was 992,000 women that actually filed for divorce in 2024, right? So that's crazy numbers, right? In fact, myself, unfortunately, I actually went through a situation similar. Well, not similar, but I actually went through a divorce just recently. My divorce actually finalized April of this year, 2005. So with my guest here today, so I'm gonna break the I'm gonna break the ice a little bit just so everybody can be comfortable.
Okay.
So before I ask y'all the question that I'm gonna ask, my first question that I have for you is as far as we'll start with, what do you think led to your divorce, right? So we'll start with that, right? It'll be a two-part question. Okay. And also with that, who initiated the divorce? Was it you or the spouse? Right.
Okay.
So
I definitely wasn't a part of the main statistic. My ex-husband filed for divorce on me. But it really didn't even start out that we were going to get a divorce. He was just like, we need to take a break. And I was confused. We were really young, but I was like, what's a break? But, I wasn't even from there. My ex-husband's military. So we lived in California, San Diego. So I wasn't prepared. I was, really young. I was probably 21. So it was a little different.
Gotcha. So in your head, so it wasn't an ideal of a divorce. You was just more so like, oh, we just gonna take a break and
Yeah.
more so that.
And I had just had a son. So I feel like I was going through maybe postpartum. I was really sad and I missed home a lot.
Okay.
But I didn't, it was never that was a thought in my head. It was just he was like, we just want to take a break.
So being that wasn't a thought in your head, how did that make you, did you feel, was it more of a surprise? Was it like a slap in the face type of situation?
It was definitely a surprise because I'll tell you this, I was actually in a commissary and a girl that I had met, a few girls that I knew, there was another girl, she was in the grocery store at the time actually, and she was with another girl that I had met. And I was talking to them and I was like, my ex-husband worked on top of the ship. So I'm wondering why everyone else is talking to their husband but me. And then I get a text message and he's like, we need to talk. And it kind of went from there.
Okay.
And then I was just really confused. I was grocery shopping with our newborn baby and all that. So it's just kind of okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Stephen, it's you. Same question. So what do you think, did you initiate your divorce or did your spouse initiate your divorce?
She initiated it.
She initiated.
Yep.
What, in your opinion, or it can be facts or an opinion, what do you think led to?
Probably lack of communication and just the unwillingness to understand where each other were coming from in certain situations. You know what I mean? So it's not a quick story to tell, but I guess none of it is. But
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's I'd say definitely lack of communication.
Gotcha. Okay. And you say she initiated the divorce?
Yes.
Gotcha. So, when did you get divorced?
When it finalized, it was about 2015.
2015.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay. And Stephen, you're actually going through the actual process right now.
Yes.
Right.
Currently going through it.
Okay.
So.
All right. So your process is actually ongoing. So and just to kind of piggyback off you when I asked the question about, was it a surprise or a slap in the face kind of thing. So my situation, so like I said, my divorce actually finalized April of this year, 2025, and we separated August of 24, which I didn't know that. Right?
Oh.
I didn't know that. My attorney told me that, which I'm like,
Oh my God.
because so my attorney was like, so when I got the papers, the divorce papers in November of 24, I got the divorce papers, right? I want to say maybe 3 months before that, we had somewhat of a conversation, but not a conversation about it, right? So we had an off and on. The last 5 years of our marriage, it's been, rocky road, ups and downs, that kind of thing. And so, and we'll get it right, and then we'll like, nah, whatever, right? So in 24, the beginning of 24, like from January to around May time frame, I'm like, okay, cool, we got it back right, we good.
Right.
And so then that summer, we had a situation that happened, or a disagreement, more so a disagreement. And so, sadly, we didn't talk for like a whole month, even though we living in the same house. We didn't talk for a whole month, right?
Now that's gotta be hard.
So we had a conversation after that. So later on in that month, but the conversation was more so of, I sent her a text about something. We had got like I got a repair done at our house, and so, and when I text her, I was like, hey, the repair is complete, is done, or whatever the case may be. And so her response to me was, well, make sure you pay for it because I just paid for this divorce. I'm like, whoa.
Whoa. Yeah, that is shocking.
I'm thinking, so I'm like, okay, well, I didn't even respond. I didn't respond to the text. And so it just kind of caught me off guard a little bit. So anyway, so we never had a discussion about it until like, I would say probably like 2 months after that, or a month later after that. And then she was like, she mentioned, hey, do you want to have this conversation about the divorce? And so my thing is, I'm the type of person, I'm not gonna beg, I'm not gonna chase. You know what I mean? Either you want to be with me or you don't. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Nah,
you know
for sure.
But ultimately, what it comes down to is, that's the last thing that I'm gonna resort to is divorcing my spouse, because ultimately, the kids are more important than anything. You know what I mean? And so us as adults, we can work through it. That kind of thing. So anyway, so fast forward, we had somewhat of a discussion about the whole divorce. And so, and it was a couple things that we couldn't agree upon. And so she just turned everything over to her attorney to do everything. And so then fast forward, the next time I knew anything about the divorce was when I got the papers in November. So to answer the same question that I asked y'all was, who initiated the divorce? So my spouse actually initiated the divorce in our situation. And so again, when I got the papers in November, I'm like, man, this is crazy. So I'm reading through the paperwork. And so then, of course, I had to get an attorney, because I wanted to make sure, I come out fair as well. You know what I mean? Not everything just kind of working one-sided, because based on the paperwork, I they was trying to take everything,
I mean, to be honest, fair in a divorce is hardly ever fair, though.
Right. Facts. Facts. A divorce is never fair, because somebody is going to lose, whether it's the husband, wife, or the kids. You know what I mean? Ultimately, the kids always lose, because they lose that same parent household support system.
Right.
And so, that's always been important to me, is like, just being able for kids to be able to grow up in the same household with both their parents. You know what I mean? And so that's always been big for me. Now, I will say this, and we'll go on to some other questions. Now, I will say this: I'm the type of person that, I'm big on accountability. I've never shied away from accountability. You know what I'm saying? I own up to any mistake that I made, and any mistake that I make or have made, I can speak on it. You know what I mean? But but what I hate is when people come up with their own narrative and then, and put their own twist on things, and it turns out not to be true. And so in my situation, So 2009, I mean 2019, not 2019. So I actually had an infidelity situation, right? So I did step out on my wife at the time, and so happened in 2019, 2020. We actually went to marriage counseling, right? Went to marriage counseling. Everything seemed to be on track, working good. Everything was working out, and so what kind of shifted things away from when things were working out, I believe, was outside influence, because the young lady that I was messing around with, I completely cut ties with her, wasn't messing with her. And my focus was
Your family.
family, her, and my spouse at the
Right.
time. You know what I mean? That's what my main focus was. Nothing else. Nothing else. Even to the point, the job that I was working at, I even resigned from the job that I was working at and everything. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And so, because I wanted to focus on my marriage and my family. You know,
Right.
so fast forward. So 2020 was good. 2021, everything was just going crazy. So everything was crazy, right? So again, I'm big on accountability. I can always own up to my mistakes and the things that I've done, you know what I mean, and what I've done wrong. But I also feel as though with marriage is more of biblical and more spiritual than anything.
Right.
And if that foundation, if the foundation is not with God, you know what I mean, it's not gonna work. And so I think along the way somewhere, as we was going through marriage counseling, we had that foundation with God as well, and that's why it was working. But then when the outside influence started to come in, like some of her friends that that she feels has her best interest really doesn't have her best interest, kind of thing, right? And I ain't that's a whole nother
amen to that. I'll say that.
That's a whole nother subject for a whole nother day, and I'm not even gonna speak on that right now because we'll have to edit some things out. We'll have to edit some things out because she know how I feel about her friends, and and the detriment that they did kind of cause. So speaking on that, so Des, in your marriage, right, when you were married, do you feel like outside influence had anything to do with?
Not really, only because, well, no, not really, because I lived across country. I lived in California, and I'm from here in Mississippi. And so from what everybody knew on the outside, that I was happy and like, I was sad a little bit, but for the most part, everyone thought we were doing good. He was a great guy, stuff like that. And I don't know, things just kind of took a turn. I mean, I only found out about him being with someone else after we were taking a break, and I had him get me a car before I left because I didn't want to be stuck in here in Mississippi with nothing, with a newborn baby. You know what I mean? So then that's when
how long were y'all married?
We were married for like almost 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dated for a year. So, but it was rather quick. We were really young, so I don't.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got a question about that too. We'll get back to that too, as far as age wise.
Right.
So again, I know you're going through the process. So in your situation, do you feel as though, because I will say, and this is not I'm not bashing women at all, but I will say women do react and move off emotions a lot. You know what I mean, and not from a logical standpoint. So I'm just gonna say that. That's all I'm saying. I ain't bashing nobody. But I will say, so in your situation, you going through the actual process of a divorce. So do you feel as though outside influence has a part to play in that, as far as like the decision that she is making as far as wanting a divorce?
I would definitely say yes. Whether it's friends that have failed at every relationship they've ever been in, to even her family members kind of whispering in her ear.
Yeah.
Maybe because they didn't like me or whatever the case may be, but not from the fact of what is truly going on. You know what I mean? So it's, I would say yes.
Hey, you know what's crazy, and it's kind of piggyback what you say, and it's always a friend that doesn't have a relationship or can't stay in a relationship, right? So it's always, right? You know, it's, they don't have a they're either not in a real relationship or they're not married, or you know what I'm saying. And honestly, what it comes down to, and it's just being honest, it's really more of a jealousy thing from the friend standpoint.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because girl, you married and got a relationship, y'all work. No, girl, he doing this, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. And so, but but again, this ain't a bashing podcast, so I'm just saying that part.
I mean, even, you know, in
simple
arguments. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But simple arguments, you know, that friend only hears what she has to say, not, you know, what may have really went down, or the circumstances of what things are happening in. So me, I've always been raised to kind of keep my emotions tight, like don't share with anybody. So I've rarely ever discussed my side of the story.
Right.
I just kind of let it roll, like.
And I think a lot of times, so for one, two things, I was always taught that there's three sides to every story: the truth, the lie, and what really happened.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
And then as far as from a man perspective, a lot of times our side, a lot of times never get heard. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't speak on a lot of, like, if I have an issue in my relationship or my marriage, I'm not finna share that with my friends. You know what I mean? Because it's not their business, it's not their relationship. You know what I mean? Because
and you don't need that outside.
Yeah, influence. I don't need that outside influence. You know what I mean? If this is not a our marriage counselor or pastor or some kind of spiritual leader, you know what I mean, that's gonna give sound advice, there's no point for me to have this conversation with you other than you finna give me some bad advice, and I'm gonna take that bad energy to my spouse, and then it's gonna make the issue worse. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
100%.
And so a lot of times, and so then in these situations, like when we're going through a divorce or when we get divorced, a lot of times we always get painted the bad guy. I know I'm getting painted the bad guy right now.
Oh, I'm 100%.
I'm 100%, and I'm cool with it. You know what I mean? I'm cool with it because ultimately, what always happens, the truth always comes out. You know what I'm saying? And again, because I'm one of those people, I can take accountability, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened or what didn't happen. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna, you know, prime example, I was having this conversation with my ex-wife, and we was talking about something totally different. This was recently. And then of course it got the conversation kind of steered back to her and I issues. You know,
it always does, right? It always does, right?
And so it kind of steered back to her and I issues, right? And so she started saying some things like about me, saying that I did this and did that, and I'm like,
you never did this.
I'm confused. Like, I didn't do, like, what? And so, but then I realized, I understand that, you know, that narrative has to be painted. You know what I'm saying? For the simple fact, because, you know, when you make a decision of if I decided to divorce her, right, I got to paint a picture to make it seem as though she's a bad person.
You got to justify it somehow.
You know what I'm saying? It has to be
Exactly.
justified. You know what I'm saying? And then also too, I got to feel good about my decision.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So if I make the decision to divorce her, I have to make up a story that some stuff that didn't happen, right? I got to make that happen.
No, and that's, you know, I'm not going to sit here and bash my soon-to-be ex-wife.
100%.
Because that's the mother of my child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, but I feel like she painted this narrative of me in her head before the separation even started. You know what I mean? So we actually separated a year prior to that for about a month and a half, 2 months.
Okay.
And, you know, we got back together. And here we are a year later.
Yeah.
Just, you know, kind of the going through it again. But, you know, there's only so much I as a man can take before, you know, my pride, my ego is completely destroyed.
Yeah.
So, you know, my tail between my legs, but my head still held high, type of thing.
Right.
But because I know the truth and what has happened between us, and she knows the truth and what happened between us. But whatever is said about me, behind the scenes, that doesn't affect me.
And it's gonna happen. And I was I told my ex-wife, I told her that I was gonna be doing this podcast and this is gonna be the topic. We're talking about divorce. But I also told her one thing that I would never do is bash her in any type of way.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
Because not only were you my wife, but mostly important, you are the mother of my children. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We got 3 kids together. So regardless of whatever you say about me or how you bash me or make me look bad, I'm never going to say anything bad about you out in public. You know what I mean? Now, I'm going to speak on certain things, you know what I mean, as far as like what I'm saying right now, but as far as like any type of flaws and what she did and what, you know what I mean, that kind of thing.
It's irrelevant at this point.
I'm
not trying to destroy her character.
Right, exactly. Not trying to destroy her character and not even trying to destroy her just in any way at all. So
right. And I guess in my situation, my character was destroyed a little bit because of some of the things that were said that were false, but I'm willing to take that on the chin because at the end of the day, again, she's still the mother of my child. Like, she's got 2 boys that I love forever as if they were mine. And what can I say bad about it? Like, what good does that do for me?
Right.
At the end of the day.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't gain anything from it.
It makes me look like a weak man.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
So, going through the process, right? I know we kind of touched on this a little bit. Going through the process of a divorce, right? What was your feeling as you was going through the process? Like once you found out, like, okay, we actually getting a divorce, and even to the point to where once the divorce actually finalized, what was your feeling like through the entire process?
I was hurt, betrayed. I feel like I failed in a way. I didn't know what I really did, but I knew like that was one of my main feelings, was that I was hurt and betrayed. Like I didn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do something like that to anybody because I don't like the feeling, especially like being cheated on and stuff like that. So like those things hurt a lot. So, and I just got something in the mail basically.
Yeah.
Because he didn't really communicate very well. He's not, still to this day, not very good at communicating at all. And I try to give that space and stuff because, like you, I grew up in a single parent family, so I feel like I failed in a way of like, oh, like I didn't get to have that for my son.
Gotcha.
But
yeah,
it didn't feel very good at all. Like, no.
Cool. So, you're going through the process of a divorce. So what's the feeling for you?
Initially it was very much so, how can I fix this? Me as a man, how can I fix this? How can I make this better? And as it progressed and certain things were done and certain things were said, I kind of made myself come to the realization of there is no fixing it.
Yeah.
And even to this day, I'm still going through that process because I find myself sometimes, like reminiscing on certain things like, oh, it was this memory pops up or I see a photo of this and that. And it's like, man, I love that time. But again, there's no repairing the damage done type of thing. So it's definitely tough, especially when kids are involved because, I mean, that's everything. To most guys, that's everything.
Yeah.
Right. That's the will to live. Right.
Facts.
And I definitely say my daughter is everything to me.
Yeah.
But never mind. Never mind. But it to have that uprooted from you, it's man. There's no other hell like it.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. So like, me going through the process of it, I grew up with both my mom and my dad, you know, in the household. So, you know, my parents been married for over 45 years.
That's
You know what I'm
awesome.
saying? And
Man,
so,
congratulations.
you know, so I've was had the opportunity and the privilege of growing up with both my parents.
Right.
And so divorce for me, it would have never been, you know, unless she just did some off the wall stuff to the point, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. But it had never came to the point to where, oh, I'm divorcing you, I'm about to leave, you know, that kind of thing. So as I was going through the process of the divorce, and even once it even finalized, like for me, for the process, it really felt like death. You know, it felt as if like somebody has died. You know what I'm saying? But you know,
but you still have to interact
you
with them
still
because you
gotta,
got kids
yeah.
with them.
And so,
yeah, man.
and it's like, and it's in every piece of situation and every little piece that happens. You know, like, you know, for example, holidays, right? So with us, we have split joint custody, so we do 1 week on, 1 week off, that kind of thing. So the hardest thing that I had to do for me to like whenever we did the like the weeks when my kids are not with me, right? Because I'm so used to being with my kids every day, every night, every morning, that kind of thing, right? So the weeks when they're not with me, you know, that was the hardest battle for me to, you know, have to go through, because the week when they're not with me, like, you know, because I'm so protective of my kids, you know what I'm saying, and making sure they're always good. And so I feel as though when they're out of my care for that long, like, you know, I don't know what's happening, you know what I mean, that kind of thing, you know. And so
that.
but I know as long as they're in my care, you know what I mean, my life, I'm gonna protect their life with my life, right?
Right.
You know, that kind of thing at all costs. And so so that was the hardest part, you know what I'm saying. And so then the other part was like going through certain holidays, you know what I mean, like on Father's Day, which on in the divorce papers, of course, you know, those type of holidays, the kids are with you, whatever, right? But I got my kids later that morning, because it was her week with them. And so, but that morning when I woke up, of course, the kids wasn't there. You know what I mean? I got them once I woke up, that kind of thing. But just something like that, like being able to wake up with my kids and then my kids coming in the room and saying Happy Father's Day or Happy Birthday, you know, the things like that. You know what I mean?
That silence,
yeah,
is a killer.
It's a killer.
To lose that energy around you, man. A lot of guys don't talk about that, man. But that's a man.
Yeah,
that's
tough.
rough.
I mean, even and just being transparent, man. I had a lot of nights I cried. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And just, you know what I mean, because just having to adjust to what this new norm is now. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm not gonna have my kids every day. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's gonna be a week when I'm not gonna see them for a whole week. Maybe not even talk to them for a whole week. You know what I'm saying?
And I just had the realization, like, you know, my daughter's only 2, but
yeah,
I just had the realization the other day, like, I won't walk her to her first day of school, like in the classroom type of thing. Like, I'll miss so many milestones.
Yeah.
That, you know, one thing I've ever wanted in life was a family, right? And like you said, you know, divorce was never an option in my head.
Right. Yep.
You know, I can't say I never threw it around in arguments or whatever, but that was never an option for me.
Yeah.
But now it's reality.
Yeah,
so
right.
you know, it is what it is.
Yep.
But we work through it. But those type of milestones that, you know, I know that I'm going to miss out on, it's rough, man.
Tough.
Yeah, and so it's just and even then too, you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna go on to the next question in just a minute. So like with my situation, like I mentioned, like, you know, I grew up in the church. So my dad is a pastor, right?
Right.
And grew up in the church. And so, like I said, my parents been married for over 45 plus years, probably longer than that. I really don't even know. But they've been married for a long time, 45 plus, all I know. But, so I grew up in the church. And so then, like, of course, like marriage is one of those spiritual things. And so like my situation, of course, like church members find out, you know, you're going through a divorce, that kind of thing. Oh, I'm praying for you. You know what I'm saying? We, you know, y'all gonna work it out, this and that, whatever, right? You know what I mean? And so I'm like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because this is something out of my control. Yeah, if it's gonna work, it's gonna have to be God. And so then I think about, okay, so boom, once the divorce actually finalized, okay, so my thing is All right. Yeah, I understand y'all praying for me. Y'all praying for us and that kind of thing. You know what I mean? But ultimately God got the last say so on what it's gonna be. You know what I mean? And so my thing is, so what if I end up getting into another relationship outside, because my divorce is final, right?
Right.
So the divorce is final. So if I get in another relationship, right? And just because my ex decide to want to, hey, yeah, I was wrong, I think we need to make this work, you know what I mean? So I'm supposed to just break the heart of the new person that I'm with because of this situation, you know what I mean? So just because so it's just it be, that was in the beginning, that's not the thought now, you know what I mean?
Just
But
makes you
like,
question a lot of
yeah, it
things.
makes you
You know what I
question.
mean?
You
It
you
just
you you have so many questions. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, because your ex, of course, you know what I mean. We got 3 kids together. We got history together. We got so many things that was tied up together. You know what I mean? But then the new relationship, even though there is stuff there. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's love or like or whatever it may be. You know what I mean? But you care about this person as well. You don't want
it
to.
all starts from somewhere, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it's just you have all those type of questions, and then it goes back to um the negative narrative of the male being painted wrong,
Of
right?
course, of course.
Because you know what I mean. No, he didn't want his family back. You know what I'm saying? That kind of
I
thing.
tried to work it out.
Yeah, yeah. So you have situations like that, man. But that's neither here nor there. So, but I will say, well, my next question is, do you feel as though, so you got married young, right?
Yeah.
And you was only married for a couple of years or whatever. Did you have marriage counseling?
No, I didn't have any
Yeah.
marriage counseling.
Do you feel like marriage counseling would have helped in your situation?
Helped us.
Mm-hmm.
It probably would have,
Mm-hmm.
like, just to kind of get an understanding where our differences were lying,
Mm-hmm.
and what was feeling feeling off ultimately in the relationship, and I would have probably been able to get a chance to, like, voice that or what.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't do that at all. And he's a very, like, closed off person,
Mm-hmm.
so he doesn't really tell people his business,
Right.
not that I know of, nor does he have a lot of people that he's friends
Yeah.
with either. So it was kind of just him and I. Well, I thought, but
Mm-hmm.
you know um
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that's more of a male thing, like, because when we first, like I said, 2019, when I had the infidelity situation, and at that time she was ready to leave then, and and I was good with that because, okay, I made this mistake, I messed up, I'm
Right.
sorry, you know what I mean. If you want to leave, you know what I mean. If you stay, I'm gonna do whatever I got to do for us to make it. I'm gonna fix what I messed up, right? That's what my
Absolutely.
mindset was. Long story short, fast forward, she actually sent me 3 different marriage counselors, and she told me to choose who to go
Right.
to, right?
That's good.
So boom, I picked one, and when I reached out to the marriage counselors, our first session that we had with them, it was a husband and wife, right?
Okay.
And it was also they spiritual therapy. It's from a spiritual standpoint, right? And so the very first thing that I told them, I said, listen, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. You know what I mean? This is tough for me to do, to be able to open up to some complete strangers
Strangers.
that I don't even know, to tell my business to. You know what I'm saying? But I want to do this because of my wife and my family. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So when you say he didn't want to open up or he don't like telling people his business, I think it's more of a male, that kind of thing. So
It's
I
definitely a male
agree.
thing for sure,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
100%.
So with you, Steven, so again, you're going through the process of it right now. So with you, do you feel as though marriage counseling would have helped?
So we actually, when we separated the first time and we
Mm-hmm.
got back together, me and her got together and like made an agreement that we would try marriage counseling.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to a couple meetings, and it would have helped, but the way that it made me feel towards her, I didn't like that, because what she was finding out was she was starting to blame herself for everything, which it's never on just one
Gotcha.
person, right?
Right.
It's a two people thing,
Absolutely.
Sure.
and she would get down on herself, and I didn't feel like that was healthy. Now, I probably should have pursued more of the counseling to see how it would have turned out, but I travel for work a lot, so I had to reschedule one meeting, and it turned into an argument, and that was a whole thing. So we didn't go after the first couple meetings, but just the initial two, I didn't want her to feel like she was being painted in a bad light.
Right.
Because as a male, like you said, I want to be the protector, the provider. I don't want to see the person that I love feel bad about themselves.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. So we had we had 3 different sets of marriage counselors. You know what I'm saying? Like through the in this 5 year of ups and down roller coasters. So the first set we had, they were great, and then for whatever reason, she didn't want to continue to go, so stopped going to that one. And then we had 2 other ones after that. So same thing kind of thing. But it is what it is, that kind of thing. So my thing is, I think, and this leads me to my next question. If I was to do it over again, I was telling my homeboy, I was like, man, listen, bro, I would never get married again, ever. I'd never compare. I don't even want to do that no more. You know what I'm saying? And my dad asked me one time recently. I want to say, matter of fact, probably like a month ago, he asked me would I get married again. I said no, definitely not. I ain't never getting married again. I said it's pointless for me to get married. You know what I'm saying? And
marriage in itself has seemed to have lost a lot of its integrity these days.
You know what I mean? And I feel like in a lot of situations, like for men, I think it's pointless for a man to get married because they always end up losing. You know what I'm saying?
You're betting the other person half your stuff.
Yeah.
That you'll love them forever.
Right. And
you lose. Yeah.
But of course, like I said, my dad and mom, they've been together for 45 plus years, and he's a pastor. And so what he told me, he said, son, just because you said that, God gonna make you get married again. But I'm saying that to say, if that was to happen, again, we always have our own plans, ultimately, but it comes down to what God got, right? If it did come down to that, if I was to ever get married again, I would definitely make sure, for one, of course, God is always going to be the foundation of the marriage, but we going to definitely be in some marriage counseling and at least once a month visit, you know what I mean? Just to make sure we communicating good, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so, because I'm simple, you know what I'm saying? I'm just, communication, respect, and sex.
Yes.
That's all I need as a man.
Important.
You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? And so as long as I got those 3 things, I'm good. You know what I mean? But I know a lot of times, dads, women, y'all got a lot of expectations and a lot of wants, and it's okay. I understand, because y'all God made y'all the way y'all are. You know what I mean? And so, but as men, we can meet those expectations and those levels, that kind of thing. And so, but so I would if it did come down to that, to where if I was to get married again, I would do some things different. You know what I mean? In fact, I would definitely do some of the things that I may have done wrong in my marriage, I would do right.
Absolutely.
I feel
this
that.
time around.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. Which brings me to my next question.
Okay.
Right. Would you get married again?
I would. I think I was too young at the time, and we were just, it wasn't the right time, and we were two totally opposite people, and I don't think that was a good thing. But I think that now that I'm older and I'm a lot wiser than I was before, and I can communicate in the simple things that you prefer in a relationship, being able to communicate, and
kind of know what you want, type of thing.
yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
So I think I would definitely say yes. Not I think, I do. I would.
You would. So no pressure for you, Steve.
I mean,
Would you?
with how brutal this is going, I would like to say no, but I'm a sucker for love, right?
Right.
Like I'm a big time sucker for love. If the right person came through and that bond was built, you know, I probably wouldn't have the heart to turn it down. But
Right.
as of right now, absolutely not.
Gotcha.
Maybe.
All right. So this brings me to my last question. Right?
Okay.
You kind of touched on age. You got married young. I got married young. I feel like I got married young. How old
Right.
were you when you got married?
I was 26.
26. Okay.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think I was
So
26.
yeah.
27,
So
something like that.
so my ex-wife, her and I, we've been together since I was 19.
Oh
Right.
wow. Okay.
I'm 39 now. So basically my whole life, my whole adult life, you know what I mean? I've been
Uh,
with her. You know what I mean?
yeah.
We had our oldest son, he is 19 years old. That's our old. We got 3 kids together. Um, so, my whole life, I built my life around
Around
her to
her.
make sure she
Yeah.
was always good, that kind of thing. Um, so it brings me to my question. What do you think? So we've been together let me back up. So we've been together since we was 19, but we got married. I can't remember. We was married for 12 years. 13 years. 12 years. 12 or
Right.
13 years. One of them. One or two. I don't know.
It just all
But
blurs
anyway,
together.
so what do you think is a good age to get married?
I think maybe like 25 and up. Maybe. I think that would be good, and maybe closer to 30. Just
So,
because you're like I don't know, a little more established in life, or
okay.
hopefully, because I don't know why we thought 20 was like, oh, like life is set and we're good.
Right,
We
Like,
right,
over the
right,
hill.
right,
Like
right,
we
right.
got
yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
got to
yeah,
start
yeah,
nah,
yeah,
settling
yeah.
in.
definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you definitely still have a lot of learning to do at that age.
Yeah.
So
What
I
about you,
think
Steven? If
I
you
mean,
to do it over, what's a good age you
it
think?
ain't nothing but no. I mean, I don't think age really plays in the factor, honestly.
Okay.
If I feel like if you've got that bond with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you got it. It's there. Why
I got you.
play with it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that being said, 16 ain't eight, like
Yeah, yeah,
18
yeah, yeah,
ain't.
yeah.
You gotta get out of high school, experience life a
Right,
little bit.
right, 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 right.
But I mean, just whenever both parties are honest
Mm-hmm.
and true with themselves
Right.
and can mutually agree, like we're ready for this,
Yeah.
yeah,
then that's the perfect age.
So I would say, so just to answer my own question, I think the best age to get married is 35, right? And I say that because 35, you're a little bit more mature. You done went through some things. You realize who you are as a person.
right,
You realize what you want in life, what you don't want in life, what you can tolerate, what you can't tolerate. And I think like in your 20s, a lot of times you're still really maturing. You know what I mean? You
yeah, exactly.
because 18, prior to 18 and prior to that age, you've been under your parents and you know what I mean. So
Yeah,
you hadn't even learned anything, and so then once 21 comes, you're legally an adult, that kind of thing. But at the same time, you still hadn't gone through anything to really understand
no,
life, in general. And so, yeah, you get in a relationship and you love this person so much, and you don't see yourself being with any other person. But at the same time, you tend to grow. That's just like you can what you used to like at 25, at 30, you don't even like no more. That kind of thing.
absolutely.
Just anything in general.
But
Not from a relationship standpoint.
I'm a firm believer in that. Love isn't a feeling; it's a choice, right? And to go through life, you're supposed to share that with somebody else.
Facts.
Both of
Understand.
you grow together, type of thing. Again, I'm a sucker for love,
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah,
but I feel like even if you are 22, 23, and you have that certain, like when it's there,
yeah,
go for it.
yeah, yeah. I was matter of fact, I was having this conversation with my oldest son. I also have a nonprofit organization, and I mentor young men, right? And so, my message to them, honestly, all the time is, listen, don't worry about getting in no serious relationship right now, because the relationship that you in right now, while you're in high school, it's puppy love. You know what I mean?
It's bound to fail.
So what's gonna end up happening? You know what I'm saying? Y'all love each other so much. You know what I mean? But once y'all leave high school, if she goes to a different college, you go to a different college, y'all tend to kind of veer off, and then also too, y'all tend to learn who y'all are and what y'all want, that kind of thing. And so, so it just goes back. That's just my thought process. I feel like 35 is the better age to kind of get married because you understand what you want, and then you also too financially you're a little bit better,
Right.
off as well, to where you're a little bit more established to where you can have a family, or you can buy a house, have a house together. Y'all can kind of really
yeah, for
kind of
sure.
budget together.
Beyond, as a man, do you ever feel like financially ready? Like, I mean, I'm not a millionaire, and
No.
I have a good job, and
So as a man,
it's never enough, right?
so by myself, yes.
yeah, of course. I'm talking about when other people are relying on you.
Yeah, when you in a relationship, you know what I mean? No, it's not enough. You know what I mean? Because I've always been one of those people, bro. Like, I want to spoil my lady. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I want to give her the world. You know what I'm saying?
course.
Like, and then because I don't want her to have this thought process. She see, because social media is such a big thing, and everybody posts everything
That's
and
so
posts this and
aggravating.
that. You know what I mean?
It's
I
so
really
bad. I delete all
hate
mine.
social media to the point I don't even post a lot of stuff. Like, I'll go out of town. A lot of stuff I don't even post. But anyway, but I would say a lot of people are into social media, and so a lot of times in some relationships, and some women, you know what I mean, they see that their friends are able to do this and do that. Like, dang, why I can't do that? You know what I mean? So I never wanted my lady to have that mindset of, dang, why I can't do that? Why we can't do that?
Why don't we have a
You know
house?
what I'm
Why
saying?
don't I have a brand new car?
Yeah, right,
I
stuff
get
like
it.
that. So no, I'm gonna make sure you good to the point to where no, don't ever think that way. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna make sure you have whatever, you know what I mean? I'm gonna, and that's just me. I spoil my lady, and so to answer your question, what I'm saying, it don't matter how much money you got, you never got enough. You know what I'm saying?
It's never
because,
enough. Right.
Because the more money you make, the more you're gonna do for her. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And
So I say that because, I dated my soon-to-be ex-wife for 6 years.
Right.
Because I never really felt like I'm financially stable
Right.
to support her and 2 kids and all this other stuff. But one day I was just like, what am I waiting on?
Yeah.
So I proposed and all this
Yeah.
other stuff, and life happens. I mean, money comes and goes, right?
Yeah.
So
Facts. Yeah.
you can't put that as a timeline.
Right. That's facts.
Mhm.
That's
So-
facts. Yeah. Before I got married, and one thing about it, man, life in general is gonna either prepare you, or you know what I mean, or you just either you gonna move with life or not. You know what I mean, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
So a lot of times,
definitely.
you can say, hey, I'm gonna wait for this before I do this and get married. You know what I mean, that kind of thing. But ultimately, a lot of times, bro, it ain't always about that, because sometimes you ain't always gonna be ready. You know what I'm saying?
That's like planning for a kid.
everything.
Like,
Right. Yeah.
oh, well, wait till I get this new job. Wait till I get this new car.
Right.
It's always gonna
Then
be
it never
something.
happens.
Yeah.
So
Cool. Man,
Right on.
look, this has been a great episode.
Thank you.
This is actually
Absolutely.
our first episode. Unfortunately, we had to hit the first episode with some heat to discuss divorce, because it is a hot topic. You know what I mean? It was one of those subjects. It was one of those topics to where I never wanted to be a part of it. You know what I mean? Before I was even going through the process of it, there was a lot of people around me that was getting divorced. A lot of friends that I was close to, they was getting divorced, and so my thing was like, I was praying. I started praying more. Like, I didn't want that to happen. You know what I mean? And so ultimately, I'm here now. It did happen. But again, I'm a move with life. And that's things happen, things you have no control over. So
Right.
So with this first topic, we are talking about divorce. We are gonna have a lot more good topics, a lot of great topics. Glad I had my guests with me on today.
Thank you for having
Ms.
me.
Dez and Mr. Steven. And
hey,
so
I appreciate you
Great
inviting me,
topic,
man.
Thank you for having me.
great conversation. Thank y'all so
Absolutely.
much. for
Thank
coming
you.
through.
For sure.